Any plans for this run or just survive? Just survive, really. Romania has joined the Belgrade Pact. To contain the growing power of Austria and Bulgaria, Romania has acceded to the Belgrade Pact. Austria and Bulgaria watch with fear as the power keg grows closer to exploding once more. Foundation of the Belgrade Pact. Serbia, Romania and Greece, the three Balkan members of the Entente, all with revanchist views of their own, have recently gathered to a common table of negotiations and have announced the beginnings of the Belgrade Pact. While this pact puts a lot of focus on the cultural discussion and preserving Balkan identities, it is also a military alliance between the participants, seemingly directed at the countries separating them and holding their ancestral lands. Today is the anniversary of the Battle of Mahiwa, the most decisive battle in the East African campaign. In the battle, the King's African Rifles were encircled and surrendered to the armies of Paul von Lettow-Vorbeck from the southeast and Karl Vals from the north and west. The British lost almost 4,000 men in the operation to a loss of less than 200 German askari. The battle paved the way to our invasion and conquest of Mozambique in 1918. Since 1922, it's been a state holiday in Middle Africa. It's been celebrated throughout the colony, but especially in Dar es Salaam, with parades and military drills. It reminds every citizen and subject of our need and capacity for military excellence. Hiya, Safari. East Turkestan declared war in Xinjiang. Oh, and we should now have our own steel, although we're still really, really negative because we're trying to export it all. Awesome. Yeah, we're on free trade. And I'm pretty happy with staying on free trade. That's fine. You can get a trait. Not sure which one I want for you. Offensive or defensive? Almost certainly offensive. I don't think we're going to be very defensive, really. We'll be in operations in different places. And then we want to 100% try to get you logistics wizard. Mechanical computing. Done. Let's go ahead and get radio. French integralists restore the monarchy. As such, for the good of France and her people as subjects, I hereby humbly ask Monsieur the Duc de Guise, heir of 40 kings, who over a millennia made France, to seize the crown and guide us towards the resurrection, the renewal of France. With a simple address to Parliament, Charles de Gaulle has called for the restoration of the monarchy. After months of political instability, it seems the French integralists of the Action Française have finally got their wishes. But truth is, no one in France is surprised by this development. The royalist sympathies of de Gaulle were an open secret, and his seemingly inexorable rise to power was sure to end this way. Only time will tell if the new regime will be able to maintain itself, let alone reconquer the French metropole. This republic was always on the verge of collapse. Am I going to make tanks? Very unlikely. I'm a poor nation. I have basically no factories. Concentrated industry done. Floyd Olson elected President of the United States. A dark horse candidate on the age of uncertainty. It appears that Floyd Olson has carried the Farmer Labour ticket in his first national election history in US history. The Farmer Labour platform Olson campaigned on drew unprecedented allies from both the Democrats and the Republicans, seeking an alternative to the populist and the partisan hacks as they saw tearing apart the nation. Reinvigorated with the news that his stomach cancer is in remission, Olson boldly strides into the White House amidst protests from the socialists and the hardliners, with the promise of fixing the economy, restoring national brotherhood, and preventing political violence by any means necessary. Stability plus 10, mediator of a grand coalition. That's probably the most positive United States I've seen. Okay, so it is still November 36, and I think we probably want to get the 1918 guns. Never seen Olson become president. Yeah, me either. That's a first. Carl of Spain declared war on the Kingdom of Spain. Has Mittelafrika still got 70-day focuses, or that been fixed? It's been fixed. Quite a few of ours have been 35-day. CNTFAI declared war on Carl of Spain. CNTFAI declared war on the Kingdom of Spain. Ever since the defeat of Napoleon, Spain has been plagued by violence, dissent and turmoil. No amount of pleading, deal-making and appeasement has managed to do more than paper over the cracks as tensions bubbled. Finally, they boiled over. The Spanish kingdom has been ripped apart by a three-sided civil war between the numerous factions, the loyalists of the Madrid government, the supporters of the pretender Javier, and finally the anarcho-syndicalist CNTFAI. It was inevitable. And there we go, military reforms is done. Is there anything I can do to increase stability? That one I can. Those are all military. Deal with the Europeans, that's also stability. And it kind of feels like that's what I need to do. Let's deal with the Europeans. The Belgian and the British citizens of our colony are very disproportionately influential. It is time we deal with them, one way or another. We must consider how to deal with the Europeans carefully. As British support market liberalism grows, we will gain a recruitable population, but also consumer goods factories. On the other hand, Belgian support social liberalism grows, we'll gain resource efficiency, but also lose factory output. Gain quite a few resources that way. Or we can gain factories. I don't really have a problem keeping them. The DKAEB Railroad reports profits. The end of the third quarter was not generally good for Mittelafrika. The lack of any economic remedies to Black Monday is hitting the colony as a whole hard. However, the DKAEB reported their volume of military and trade cars being charged by the railroad has gone up since the first quarter, and it seems that investors are confident in the railroad once again. Statthalter Göring's plan has paid off. We gained some political power and we gained some stability. We saved it. We saved the railroads. And we now have lots and lots of political power. We can send in the army to gain stability, which I think I'll probably do. So for 180 days, we will lose political power, population factor, and division recovery rate, which is fine. I'm not really bothered by those. And we'll gain weekly stability plus 0.5. So how much is that? 180, whoops, divided by 7 is 25 weeks. 25 times 0.5 is 12.5 stability. That's a fair amount. Do it. Republican victory in Brazil. While certainly not an unexpected result, confirmation has reached us the Republican Party will stay in power in Brazil, as it has since the start of the new republic in 1927. The new president of the republic, Getulio Vargas, will be sworn in January, but has already promised to deal with a firm hand against the economical issues plaguing the country, and he also promises to do better for the common man in Brazil. Another police officer has been shot. Another policeman, this time from Lilongwe, has been shot by a radicalised native who was a member of the Makonde tribe. The cause of this radicalisation, the source of his weapons, is still being investigated, however. It is possible it was received from Portugal. This is an outrage! We are up to 5 civilian factories now. Building what is quite possibly the slowest production we've ever done. Italian government falls. After many months of terrorist acts by the ANI rocked the Italian Federation and caused many within the nation to doubt the government's ability to maintain order, a vote of no confidence was held in Milan today, a motion which passed by the narrowest of margins. Attention has now been turned to the Consiglio della Federazione Italia, with the old government of the Italian Federation, which lapsed after 1929 but still technically existed, and has stepped in to fill the void left by the Republic. So the Greens are not doing too hot. January 1937. So at some point soon we should be able to get the 1937 budget. I hope. Going into 1937, we face a difficult choice. Our economy wasn't strong in the first place, and Black Monday annihilated what manufacturing potential we had for the better parts of last year. Going forwards, we're going to have to choose to focus on military production or diverting our limited resources towards repairing the civilian economy instead. No, we're going to do the long term, for sure. Yeah, 45% more construction speed. 100%. Political power gain plus 20%, construction speed plus 45%, and factory output plus 10. And then with that, we now have access to these. So we'll be able to do this first tier. And that industrial development would be nice, because that would mean that we can get the 1939 industry pretty much straight away. And really double down on our construction speed. Do we have a Fight Portugal focus? I don't think so. I think the Fight Portugal comes from them. Let's take a look. Portugal. Port renovation. Nope. Nothing to do with Portugal whatsoever. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it has to come from them. Socialists assume full control in Norway. Norwegian Socialist Republic has joined the Third International. After winning the elections and forcing King Haakon VIII to abdicate, the Socialist Party of Norway has today ratified a new constitution, which fully turns the country into a syndicalist state. Now, there are a couple of things we can do, actually, to prevent the Portuguese from getting too strong. Let's move our navy to friendlier seas. Actually, better spot. Move it to Namibia. And then we're going to start positioning our armies. You guys are the motorized. And you lot are going to be holding on to this. Yeah. I like it. Because it is clear that Portugal is our biggest threat right now. A combined effort by the Commonwealth of France and the Union of Britain a few days ago has birthed the International Avant-Garde, a programme that aims to create a unified art style for art and genre for music as well as new literary techniques, each of them encouraged to be socialist, unorthodox, anti-traditionalist and anti-religious. Militarist revolt in Paraguay. The situation in the South American nation of Paraguay has reached fever pitch as the government of José Félix Echegabarria has finally collapsed in the wake of the failed policy programs. Politically charged officers across the nation led to their respective barracks in revolts against both the administration and their syndicalist rivals, but swiftly managed to seize the presidential palace in Asunción, ending serious hostilities. Mustafa Kemal shot. Grand Vizier and celebrated war hero, the leader of the OHF, Mustafa Kemal Pasha, was shot earlier today in Izmir while speaking to a massive crowd gathered to celebrate his recent reforms. The lone gunman of Armenian descent seems to have had the immediate motive revenge for the loss of his family during the Armenian massacres, but many observers are suspecting the hand of the former special organisation members in the plot, likely looking to weaken the OHF and guide the party back to its line of Islamism and strict nationalism. The entire Ottoman Empire holds its breath. Okay, dealing with the Europeans. I think I would like to get the industrial development. With our new budget in place, we're able to develop the industries of Mittelafrika. Yeah, thankfully sending in the army has somewhat stifled the border raids. They're half as effective right now. Buys us a bit of time. The Serbian Republic declared war on Bulgaria. The Fourth Balkan War, a country was reborn in the Balkans after the Weltkrieg. Greater Bulgaria, the titan of the peninsula, uniting all of the Bulgarian lands and beyond. This kingdom for all Bulgarians was born in bloodshed and war, though defeating Serbia, Greece and Romania in the Weltkrieg, a move that these three nations are still bitter about today. Huey Long assassinated. That's two things I've never seen. Just outside the Louisiana State Legislature in Louisiana, Huey Long, leader of the America First Party and prominent critic of the United States federal government, was shot to death by an assailant who, in turn, was killed by Long's bodyguards. The motives of the assassination are unknown, but while many are ascribing it to the Socialist Party of America, the SPA's leader, Jack Reed, has hotly denied any involvement, instead is pointing the finger at President Floyd Olson. A version of events which is gaining widespread acceptance in the country, increasing the anger towards the troubled government. The former Democrats within the AFP have silently deserted the more radical element of the party, and the FBI reports that neither William Lemke nor Charles Coolin have been able to meet with AFP congressmen. That feels like an Olson thing, because he did say he was going to suppress political violence by any means necessary, including, I guess, political violence. This means Olson versus Reed is the entire Civil War. Huh. Looks like the USA may win. Construction done. And we will need to wait another 50 days before I can get my new construction level. So I think what I'm going to do... We can actually get you pretty quickly. It is 37 actually. Yeah, we may as well do this. Yeah, let's do it. You really all went down this path? Huh. Or we could get the fuel refining. Nah, let's go for the 40% cheaper. Improved machine tools. Why not? Standoff in America. President Floyd Olson experienced a major blow today as a large number of governors declared his government illegitimate, citing a direct link between the federal government and the recent assassination of Huey Long, and they have thrown their support behind the syndicalist leader Jack Reed. They have stopped short of seceding from the Union, but have declared the federal government holds no authority within their state borders until Floyd Olson steps down. In response, President Floyd Olson has given governors 30 days to stand down, an order none of them appear interested in obeying, making it all but certain that the United States will descend into civil war for the second time in less than a century. They get a massive debuff for combat effectiveness for the first year in the Civil War. Interesting. Yep, there we go. CSA is appearing, although they're pretty small. Finland has joined the Reichspact. A few days ago, Lavik Kornilov, Supreme Commander-in-Chief and President of Russia, passed away in his sleep. With Kornilov's death, Prime Minister Boris Savinkov, appointed by Kornilov, used his power in the government to merge the post of Prime Minister and President, becoming the first voyaged of Russia. Savinkov, in his National Republican Party of Russia, the NRPR, has been growing in influence in Russia long before Kerensky's death. The NRPR and Savinkov have promised to free Russia from the chains of the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, bringing the Russian people to their former glory. It is unclear how these plans will unfold. However, one thing is clear. Boris Savinkov is now the undisputed leader of the Russian state. That's too many. I'm only going to need one there. And you punching down to that, and then to that. Machine Gewehr is done. 37. We should be all out on industry now. Forests. Forest combat width is 42, which means... What is 84 divided by 3? $28. 28 combat width? 14? $14, I think, is going to be a good one. Either 28 or 14, so the big guys could probably be 28. And then these militia ones could be 14. And I think I'm going to stop training those, and we're going to get a bunch more of these. Markleek declared war on Tibet. The war between the Hui and the Buddhists. The tension between Yushu and Markleek and Tibet has exploded once again in the northwest. This comes after months of instability in both the belligerents could only be resolved in the common external enemy. Incidents over the past half-decade, much as the Glock massacre and the Xinjiang Council feud and the rumours the next Dalai Lama living in Yushu have preceded this latest war. No. Ungern Sternberg is not in charge of Mongolia anymore. Third police officer has been shot. Tragedy has struck Dar es Salaam. Yet again, for the third time, a police officer has been shot, this time by a member of the Makonde tribe. Dar es Salaam police are now searching for the murderer and the cause of the attack. Portuguese involvement is suspected. The CSA has declared war on the United States. And so it begins. And Canada immediately takes New England. To those not in the know, it might have seemed like crisis in the United States came out of nowhere, but experts agree this was a civil war years in the making. The destiny of America is at stake. And there it is, New England. Okay, so you wanted to see what the new focus tree is like. There's quite a lot to it. America's darkest hour. Legitimacy. Propaganda. Big old population boosts. Second square deal. Here's industrial and political. Liberty Ships Docks project. That's a lot of shipping stuff. Dockyards of Democracy. Light hull, sub-detection, max speed, surface visibility, submarine surface visibility, sub-visibility, max speed. That's pretty good submarines and destroyers. Reorganize the National Guard. Limit New England to a maximum conscription of limited. Special Forces capacity, Special Forces minimum capacity plus 24. Wow. Marines and Amtraks get a lot better, so you definitely want to be using New England Marines. Mid-ocean escort fleet. Light ships get even better. Massive bonuses to special forces. Kaiserreich seems to be going in the direction where they really like special forces, because United Baltic Duchy also had big special forces bonuses. Not as big as New England, though. Those are quite ridiculous. Another section on the right that only becomes visible when you reunite the US. Interesting. Big population boost of refugees from the Civil War. That makes sense. Alright, bought Warhammer 3 and a 1TB SSD. Yeah, you definitely do want to have an SSD if you're playing Total War games nowadays. The loading times would be way too long if you don't. Ninja Dropout wants me to drink some tea. Well, alright then. Oh, Steel's production from further south. Ha. The Forge of Democracy. New England doesn't look terrible. It would be pretty quiet, admittedly, but using those Marines in dedicated strikes could be interesting, especially if you can send them as volunteers. Can New England enter the Civil War? Yes. Yes, they can. Looks like we're gonna have to declare independence all over again. You can enter the Civil War via decisions. There you go. Prince Sabahattin appointed the Grand Vizier. Grand Vizier Mustafa Kemal assassinated in Izmir. The Ottoman Empire was forced to call in emergency elections to fill the leadership vacuum, which have now seen the Liberal coalition, defeated earlier in 1935 by Kemal's OHF, gain an absolute majority and thus cement their power. Following his electoral victory, Prince Sabahattin, the leader of the HIF, was appointed Grand Vizier earlier today by the Caliph, promising to fulfill his agenda of decentralization and promoting private initiative. So we're going to have a more liberal Ottomans. I think I'm going to go for the fuel refining, as we do have a navy. Legation cities collapse. Disturbing news has come from Shanghai as the total collapse of the rule of the Legation Council. This news comes on the heels of earlier reports detailing how several unwise financial choices led to the devastating lack of economic confidence in the Legation cities, and ultimately the Legation cities' own bankruptcy. China continues to fracture. Oh, bah, wow. All you had to do was take flipping Anqing. Don't lose it now, League of Eight Provinces. You were doing so well. I could send you guns. I will. The fall of Washington. Syndicate militias have advanced towards and captured the symbolic capital of the United States, Washington, D.C. They stormed the Capitol buildings and met strong resistance, but eventually they broke through. And the flag, the Combined Syndicates of America, now flies over the U.S. Capitol. Industrial development. Which is down here.